UK bar migrants from claiming benefits until they become citizens under immigration shake-up. The new rules will apply retrospectively to many post-Brexit arrivals and could extend settlement waits to 30 years. In this video, we will tell you everything about these new proposed ILR rules that barred migrants from claiming warfare benefits until they become citizens. So, if you've not already, subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell for upcoming updates. To understand the magnitude of this change, we first have to understand how the system works right now. There is a common misconception that anyone arriving in the UK can immediately sign on for benefits. That is false. Currently, most non-UK nationals on work or study visas are subject to a condition called No Recourse to Public Funds, or NRPF. This means they cannot access universal credit, housing assistance, or child benefits, despite paying income tax and the immigration health surcharge. However, under the current rules, once a BLED, migrant obtains indefinite leave to remain in R, usually after 5 years of working and paying taxes. That restriction is lifted. ILR is essentially permanent residence. You don't have a British passport yet, but you are settled and you gain access to the welfare safety net. The new proposal seeks to sever that link. The government wants to extend the ban on benefits past the point of permanent residency. Under this shake-up, having permission to stay forever wouldn't be enough. You would need to go through the additional, often expensive process of naturalisation to become a full British citizen before receiving a single penny in state support. So, why is this happening now? The primary driver is political pressure regarding net migration figures, which have hit record highs in recent years. The government's argument rests on three main pillars: the contributory principle, the pull factor, and economic sustainability. First, the contributory principle. Proponents argue that the British welfare state is a national insurance system, not a global charity. The logic is that full access to the benefits system should be a privilege reserved for those who have made the ultimate commitment to the nation: citizenship. They argue that 5 years is no longer enough to justify full access to a system strained by an ageing population and economic volatility. Second is the pull factor theory. Ministers believe that the UK's welfare system is too attractive compared to other nations. By making benefits harder to access, they hope to deter those coming solely for economic support, theoretically ensuring that only those who intend to work and contribute highly to the economy will choose the UK. And finally, economic sustainability. With the tax burden at historic highs, the government is looking for ways to trim the welfare bill. By delaying benefit eligibility for hundreds of thousands of people for an extra year or two, or indefinitely if they don't naturalise the Treasury, saves money. That's the government's pitch. But immigration lawyers, charities and economists are sounding the alarm. They argue this policy ignores the reality of how modern migration works. Let's talk about the fiscal contribution. Studies consistently show that migrants, particularly those on work visas, are net contributors to the UK economy. They arrive young, they work, and they pay taxes. If someone has worked in the UK for 5 years, paying income tax and national insurance, critics argue it is fundamentally unfair to deny them support if they lose their job simply because they haven't paid the extra fee for a passport. And speaking of fees, let's look at the cost of citizenship. Becoming a British citizen isn't free. It currently costs over £1,300 just for the application. If you add in the tests and ceremony, you're looking at over £1,600 per person. For a family of 4, that is over £6,000. If a family has just secured indefinite leave to remain, they have likely already spent tens of thousands on visa fees and health surcharges over the previous 5 years. Critics argue that barring benefits until citizenship effectively puts a price tag on safety. It means that if a permanent resident runs out of money, they can't get help because they can't afford the citizenship fee required to get that help. It's a catch-22. There is also the risk of destitution. If people with permanent residency lose their jobs and cannot claim housing benefit, where do they go? The concern is that this will lead to a spike in homelessness and child poverty costs that eventually fall on local councils and the NHS anyway. potentially costing the taxpayer more in the long run than the benefits would have. Context is everything. Is the UK an outlier here? The government often points to the United States and Australia as models. In the US, green card holders' permanent residents generally have to wait 5 years before accessing federal means-tested benefits. However, the UK proposal is distinct because it links access specifically to citizenship, not just a waiting period. In many European countries, access to social security is based on contribution, not just passport status. If you pay into the social security system in Germany or France, you are generally entitled to get something out of it when you are unemployed, regardless of whether you have naturalised. By moving to a citizenship-based model, the UK would be adopting one of the strictest welfare borders in the Western world. Implementing this won't be easy. There are significant legal hurdles. First, there are international treaties. The UK is a signatory to various conventions regarding the treatment of workers and refugees. While this policy is aimed at economic migrants, the lines often blur. Furthermore, there is the issue of acquired rights. Can you retroactively strip benefit access from people who are already on the path to settlement? Or would this only apply to new arrivals? If it applies to new arrivals, the economic savings won't be felt for 5 years. If it applies to everyone, the government faces a mountain of lawsuits. Politically, this is a gamble. It plays very well with the core voter base concerned about immigration numbers. It signals that British citizenship is something special, something to be earned, and that the welfare state is for our own. But it also risks alienating the business community. The UK is currently suffering from labour shortages in key sectors: healthcare, construction, and hospitality. If the UK becomes known as a country where you pay high taxes but get zero safety net even after settling permanently, global talent might simply choose to go to Canada, Germany, or New Zealand instead. This brings us to the philosophical core of the debate: social cohesion. By creating a system where two people can work the same job, pay the same tax, and live next door to each other, but only one is entitled to support if they get sick, are we creating a two-tier society? Indefinite leave to remain used to mean exactly that: you remain. You are part of the fabric of the country. Requiring citizenship changes the definition of belonging. It suggests that residency and tax contribution are no longer the metrics of membership, only the passport is. Some argue this encourages integration, pushing people to take that final step to become British. Others argue it breeds resentment and exclusion, treating long-term residents as perpetual guests. So, what is the verdict? The proposal to bar migrants from benefits until citizenship is a bold attempt to redefine the boundaries of the British welfare state. Ideally, it aims to reduce costs and restore public trust in the immigration system by ensuring that full membership requires full commitment. However, the practical realities are messy. The high cost of citizenship, the risk of destitution for tax-paying residents, and the potential deterrent to skilled workers make this a high-stakes economic gamble. As the UK moves closer to the next general election, immigration will be the battleground. This policy is the weapon of choice. But whether it hits the target of reducing migration or backfires by damaging the economy and social fabric remains to be seen. I want to hear from you. Is it fair to reserve benefits for citizens only? Or should 5 years of paying taxes earn you the right to a safety net? If you're an immigrant in the UK, how would this change your plan? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found this deep dive helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for more analysis on UK politics and global economics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.